Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. Wheels on the bus go round and round, all over town. Doors on the bus go open and shut, open and shut, open and shut. Doors on the bus go open and shut, all over town. Bumpers on the bus go swish, 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 swish. Bumpers on the bus go swish, 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 all over town.
Yo, what up, folks? It's your favorite bus driver here, Mr. Reedus, and welcome to the Bus Driver Chronicles. Listen, man, today was the first day of school here at the good old JCPS here in Louisville, Kentucky, and we got plenty to talk about tonight, man. So I just want to do a little quick recap. I'm not going to be on here long at all. I'm going to try not to be on here long at all. I want to open up to any questions. I really want to hear about your experiences today, how the routes went, the bus stops, bus times went, how the car rider line went for you, man. I want to hear back from y'all today, and I want to share some insight with y'all from my perspective as a bus driver, okay? So as always, when you hop in, be sure, be polite, be kind, speak to your boy. Hey, hello, what's up? How are you? How you doing? How your mom and them? All of that. Just be polite, speak to me, speak to each other. Do me a favor, interact with the live, like it, heart it, love it, laugh it, whatever you want to do, share it. I see a lot of y'all quite often share it with the Dear JCPS here in Louisville, also sometimes the Louisville Hood News, different sites, man. So please feel free to share it. I want the comment section to be a place for people to converse and get different perspectives from different parents, citizens, students, employees, so on and so forth. Okay, so we're gonna hop into it in just a moment, but just for a little bit, as y'all hop in a little bit more of the wheels on the bus.
Open and shut, doors on the bus go open and shut, all over town. Bumpers on the bus go swish, 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 swish. Bumpers on the bus go swish, 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 all over town.
All right, man. Let's get into it tonight. So again, first day of school here at JCPS, man. The question of the day is already in the comments, so I want y'all to just go ahead and throw that question in after you speak, after you say hello, after you say what's up, deuces, whatever. Make sure you polite, be kind. I see a couple comments here. What's going on, Miss Anita? Anita is one of our special needs drivers out of Lee's Lane. Hope I didn't give too much information about your whereabouts, Anita. What's going on, Miss Kathy, Car Rider Lines? Yo, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So again, welcome to the Bus Driver Chronicles. Again, be polite, speak, like, heart, share, laugh, stream, share the stream. Let's get as many people as part of this conversation as we can tonight. I'm going to try to be brief. I know a lot of you have a lot of things to say. You can say a lot of it in the comments. That part. So before I hop into it, these different things, let me just give y'all my day, give y'all Mr. Reedus' day. My day was relatively smooth, as I expected it to. The past, over the summer, back in June, I started running simulations for different routes, so different buses out of our compound, seeing what they would look like, the times look like, the area, so on and so forth, and everything was looking good, and it has been looking good, and it still looks good. About 2 weeks ago, I was able to choose my route. So for the past 2 weeks, I've been running my route, getting very familiar with it. I know all of my stops. I know my turns. I know it like the front, back of my hand. I'm smooth. So I had high expectations for today. And today really did not let me down. The morning was pretty smooth. The biggest thing about my morning is I actually drive out of Gudamuth. Matter of fact, hold on, I got Gudamuth on my shirt today. Big shout out to Gudamuth. They were my first elementary school when I became a bus driver. I love all of them over there. They are very supportive. They're super cool, very chill. They're about their business. This morning, they were probably the most organized that I'd seen personally with receiving students. They had different little sections outside to receive students from different buses, making sure they get their tags and stuff like that. So big shout out to Goodermuth Elementary for doing an excellent job this morning, getting those students off the bus, getting them tagged, so on and so forth. My biggest hindrance this morning really was kind of not backhand at all. Really was kind of Goodermuth picking up this morning. That's simply because Goodermuth has 22 languages spoken in their school, which means a lot of the families that I pick up are non-English speaking students. So I had different parents that had different questions. They were trying to express different things to me about the stop. And there was that language barrier. So several of them I was able to assist. Some of them, it took a little bit longer. So I kind of had to end the conversation and just say, call the school, because it was taking us way too long to pick up kids at that stop. So it did put me back just a little bit, not too bad, but that language barrier may come into play in the future if I do have any issues with their children, with the stop, so on and so forth. So we'll see how that goes. That was the only reason I had even like the slightest delay in my morning. The only other thing outside of that were the car rider lines, and I'm gonna hit that in just a moment. I want that to be a separate topic. But outside of that, my morning was smooth. I spoke to several of my drivers out of my compound, Leaves Lane. A lot of them had a very, very smooth morning. Really hardly any issues. So big kudos out to the drivers out there. I'm very confident that is across the board for a lot of the drivers in the different compounds, but mostly I can speak for mine. Moving to the afternoon. Woo! All right, so here's the thing. The afternoon got a lot trickier. And it had nothing to do with, let me say this. It had nothing to do with our routes. It had nothing to do with the time of our routes, the locations of our bus stops, so on and so forth. The biggest hindrance that I found today were the car rider lines. So what it seems to me is that big shout out to our routing coordinators. They're the ones, a lot of them came, it was a special team they put together over the summer of different coordinators from different compounds that came together and routed all of the buses for the entire district. And I think they did an excellent job with the new bus assignments, so on and so forth. So big shout out to them. They did great. I think the thing that JCPS could not fully prepare for were the car rider lines, because now that we've eliminated so many buses, so many schools having transportation, a lot of parents are driving their driving their children to school. And the biggest issue is some of the schools are not well equipped or well located for the type of traffic that is coming in and out of the schools. Some schools, like, they're just located on roads that at that time of the day, it's just not good. So I'll jump right into it. Shafton was a big problem this morning and this afternoon. Now, understand this: Shafton is on Crumbs Lane. You've got Butler High School and you got Shafton right up the way. Now, the good thing is they have different start times. So when Butler lets out, Shafton not letting out at the same time. So that eliminates how bad the traffic could be there. But the issue with Shafton is it is located on Crumbs Lane, which is heavy traffic. And considering how their car rider line is, it just is not conducive to the type of traffic that they receive today. So I feel like they did the best they could with what they projected, but now that they have a reality of what it's going to look like, it is my hopes that they can go back to the drawing board and figure a way how to better flow the traffic that comes in and out of the buses and the car riders. And that's just one example. I know several of you parents have children at different schools, and you've come across the same issue. I saw another issue, PRP, with PRP having, Greenwood Elementary right there. That was really, really tough this morning. I don't think it was so bad this afternoon, but this morning it was rugged. I also drive out of Doss. Doss this afternoon was rough. But here's the thing I want y'all to also take into consideration. It's not always just because of the buses or the car rider lines. Life happens in the streets. On St. Andrews Church Road, there was a disabled vehicle that before you even get to the school, before you even get to Doss, and it was already causing major traffic going up St. Andrews, turning into Manslick. So because of that disabled vehicle putting that area down to one lane, that was already causing a big issue. And that's not the only disabled vehicle or accident that took place in Louisville today that added to the already frustrated traffic that was taking place at the schools. So it's really just, it's a conglomerate. It's a perfect storm of things that we can do better, but also things that we cannot control. We cannot control when there's an accident. We can't control when there's a disabled vehicle. We can't control the elements outside of our schools that have nothing to do with school property, be it bus or on actual school property. So I want y'all to also take that into consideration instead of automatically AUTOMICALLY. I'm gonna say that little rant for the end. I'm gonna say that little rant. So from my understanding, from my perspective, from what I saw, from what I heard from other drivers, from what I was hearing on the radio, the car rider lines were, for lack of a better word, atrocious. In some schools, not all schools, I saw several posts of different people giving kudos to several different schools that their car rider line, the buses, everything ran smoothly. It was good. So, that's the reality of it. In some areas, it's going to be fine. Some areas are going to be rugged. Some areas, it's going to be tragic. It's going to be trash. But again, y'all, this is the first day of school. Let's say that again. The first day of school. You should have already been expecting delays, issues, problems, because as much as we can try to foresee what will happen on the day of is the day of. Okay, these are new routes that have been run out. The routes I can vouch for personally, from what I ran, what I've seen, are good routes. But there are things outside of that, outside of the busing system, the car rider line track. There's so many other things that take place that we can and cannot control. But again, it's the first day, so it's a learning curve for us all. So there has to be patience on every level, not just asking patience from the parents and the guardians and the motorists out there, but even asking patience for other teachers, other drivers, so on and so forth. Everyone has to be patient. We're all working together to try to better serve our children and better serve the school system. So trust me, I was sitting on that hot bus in traffic myself. I was frustrated with being hot, but I wasn't sitting there like, man, they gotta do better. Man, I knew this would happen. That's not what it wasn't my attitude. And maybe because partially I have a different stance because I work for JCPS. I have a different lens. I'll take that. That's very true. But I'm also just an optimistic person, and I have the ability to try to look at things from different perspectives before I complain about what I see or what I experience, which is what I would really encourage each and every one of you to do. I understand you are being inconvenienced in the moment, and I understand you expressing frustrations in your head and your thoughts or whatever, but this continual hopping online and all of this bashing and stuff like that serves no one. It's not solving a single problem, not a single one. But it's your social media. Do with it as you choose. Boom. I'm just staying out. I'm staying out of the comments. I'm seeing posts. I'm just like, keep going. Don't even click on it because you're getting on my nerves. It's a bit of a headache. The first day, y'all are literally just bashing everything. Like the first time you did everything or wrote something out was perfect the first time. Yo, chill, please. Again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You have your temperament, live your life. But I'm just encouraging you to adopt the woosah. Adopt a level of understanding, different perspective, calm down. Now, after about a week or two, if it's still the worst thing ever, by all means at that time, I understand if you like, yo, hey bro, I gave y'all 6 days. I gave y'all a week. This is as bad as it was the first day. I get it. But come on, man, leave some room for growth and improvement. You would want the same type of grace offered to you if you were in this position. You probably want the same grace offered to you in whatever position you hold in any job, any organization, whatever you do. When someone gives you a task and you don't have it all the way right, you don't want them jumping down your throat saying this ain't it. You don't want that. You want a level of grace and some time to figure out where the kinks are to work it through. Okay, so all I'm saying is try to offer that same grace to JCPS as a whole, not just the bus drivers, not just the administrators, not just the teachers, but everyone working to serve our community and serve our children, have some patience and have some grace. Okay, I've said this before many, many times. I'm going to say it again. No system is perfect. Even when they do this really, really well, it will never be perfect. It will never be the best thing for everybody. There's no system that serves every single person involved equally. I hope I said that right. They're going to be people that, doesn't serve them the best way that they would like. But, it's an impossible task that we're taking on. But let me hop into the comments really quick. I've done a lot of talking. Let me see if I can answer any questions or bring to the stream anything you all want to talk about. But Linda said checking high middle school tags was extra time as well that we never had to do before. So kids were frustrated. Absolutely, Belinda. So thank you for bringing it up. That is another caveat that added to delays in my afternoon. So I did have a pretty tough delay in my afternoon because before allowing the kids to get on the bus, I had to check each individual tag to make sure that kid belongs on my bus. So the teachers do their due diligence, making sure they're tagging the right address and stops for each kid. But before they get on my bus, I have to do my due diligence because people are human. People make mistakes. A teacher could have missed a kid, could have ducked under, so many different things that could happen. So before entering my bus in the afternoon, I had to check every tag to make sure that kid belonged on my bus. So that absolutely added to delays. I know most schools try to dismiss a little bit early to compensate for the time that would take. And we actually did leave early after doing that. But then here's the next thing. Again, I told you I drive for Gudamuth Elementary, so we have a lot of non-English speaking families, including students. So thankfully, another big shout out to Gudamuth. They had someone on my bus at each stop calling out the names of the students that belong on their stop, making sure they get off. And that was a tremendous help. However, it also added to the time it would take to get kids off the bus. Once everything is running smoothly, I'm going to know my kids. I'm going to know who gets off. Boom, pop, pop, pop. Jose, let's go. Da, 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 and they all feel we gone. But right now, I don't know these kids. She's learning these kids too. She's only going to be with me for maybe about a week or so. So it's adding to the time that it took to get these kids home, on top of traffic, on top of car rider lines, so on and so forth. But ultimately, it worked for our good because it's better to make sure the right kids are on the bus and the right kids are getting home, as opposed to having kids on the bus that don't belong there. And now I have to take the time to take them to the next school, drop them off, this, that, and the other, which adds to the whole time of the day. So at the end of that, checking the tags served an overall better purpose. Okay, it added to delays for today, but it served a better purpose. Again, first day stuff, we're working out. Okay, this is a necessity so that everything can run smoother moving forward. And when I say moving forward, I don't necessarily mean tomorrow. Okay, chill. That could be sometime next week, possibly the week following. Let's give it some time. Okay, so thank you for shouting that out, Belinda. Yeah, checking the tags. And also, really quick to you parents, guardians, and students, if you're watching, you must send your child, if they're riding the bus, they have to have their tag on their backpack or on their person. I understand some of our high schoolers, they don't always, carry their backpacks, but some of the ladies have purses, the guys have gym bags, they can put it on their wrist. But I told them off top, I told all of my schools, you need to have a tag to ride this bus. So I encourage you, if you are a parent or guardian, make sure you instill that into your children so they know not to leave home. If they want to change backpacks because they were in a different color today, you better change tags too, whatever it takes. Make sure you are following up with them to make sure they're doing that. Okay. All right. Moving forward. Who else got something? Is it Charmia? Charmia? I'm gonna go with Charmia. I hope that's right. I'm gonna read your comment. It says, I believe we did really well. I'm assuming you are a JCPS employee. Issues today was mostly traffic. The other issues that I heard over CB, I'm assuming is CB Young, which is our headquarters, was parents not at the stop to retrieve their children, having to wait on parents is what slows us down. So let me hop into that really quick. I waited on not a single parent today. I went around the block one time for one parent, and it's only because I saw her coming up the street, but I'd already been waiting, letting other kids off, and the traffic was backing up. So I went up, circled the block, came off, and she was there, and I dropped the kid off. That was it. From per the instructions from my compound, I think I'm cool with saying this. we were not to wait. If we're at the stop and the kids, if it's a kindergarten student, and or an elementary kid who doesn't know where they are, doesn't know where they're going, we're supposed to make the stop, let the kids off. They're supposed to get off there and then move on, move forward, and drop the kid off our next school. So today, at least for our compound, we were not sitting around waiting. We wasn't calling the compound, can you call a parent to see where they are? We weren't doing none of that today because we already knew the delays were going to be enhanced. They were going to be great. So we didn't want to add that to the delay of getting other kids home. Traditionally, once we get things moving, that will probably be the protocol. But for now, if we have a kid on our bus and let's say parent is not there to receive them and they can't get off without a parent there, if they fell asleep on the bus and missed their stop, no, I'm not going back to your stop. I have to move forward. So the protocol for today, and I'm assuming in the coming maybe days or a week or so, is if your student, if your child, if your little cousin, niece, nephew, if they missed their stop, or if you are not there to retrieve them at the time of the stop, we will move on, and then it is your responsibility to pick them up from whatever school we take them to. That is your responsibility. We were there when we were supposed to be there. You were not. Now it's your responsibility to make whatever arrangements that you have to pick them up. That is fair. That is fair. Plain and simple. If you want to be even better at, download the EduLog app. That way you have an approximation of when the bus leaves the school and an idea of when they'll be to your stop. But I can say with full confidence that whichever schools let out first in this afternoon, the 210 times, I would argue that majority of those students got home relatively on time because they were the first. So there were no delays with getting them to their stops outside of what was happening en route. But yeah, there are different tools that you can utilize to make sure that you are there for your child and you're not delaying them getting home, and you're not delaying all of the other children getting home, and you're not delaying me getting home. How about that part? That part. You're not delaying the bus drivers getting home, because when y'all don't show up, it's adding to the rest of our day. Even though we had that little policy in place, take the kids to the next stop, everything's going on. It's still pushing our day back potentially. Okay, let me go home when it's time for me to go home. Period. All right, let me hop back in the comments. Anita said definitely waiting for the parents held us up. Now Anita's different. Anita is special needs, so they really kind of have no choice. More or less. I don't know how exactly it worked for y'all over special needs today. I'm sure y'all had a different set of instructions. But for us, it was like, boom, let's go. Tawanda says it was a team effort. Drivers did their best to get the students home at a timely fashion, and the teachers and staff did their due diligence to make sure to tag the students and get them on the appropriate buses. I say great job to all the staff and bus drivers. Yes, let's go. Kudos to all the teachers, administrators, faculty, staff, bus drivers, all of y'all. Kudos, man. For what I believe to be a successful day. We were able to control what we could control, and what we couldn't, it's what happened. Personally, every kid that got on my bus was tagged and tagged properly. All I had to do was make sure I checked the tags. I had like a couple, the biggest issues, again, I just had some non-English speaking kids that didn't even recognize their name for some reason. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. I had a particular child that the woman that was on my bus called his name 6 times, and then finally went up there, and I told her, I was like, check his tag behind me. Came up there, and it was him, and he was a non-English speaking child, but at the same time, I'm like, your name. So finally, got him, and I was just like, goodness gracious. And then he had a heck of a time getting off the bus. He did not want to get off. He threw an entire tantrum. And I promise you, it was probably about a good 10, 15 cars piled up behind me. We finally got him off the bus, had his daycare representative come and get him. But that was a whole moment. So imagine that's just one kid causing that type of delay. Imagine you got different kids on different buses, different issues that are happening day after day. Okay, that's adding to it taking a little bit longer. But from what I have seen today was relatively successful. I'm sure there is a possibility that there are some buses still out there dropping off kids for whatever reason. But I'm also have plenty of confidence that we're not about to see 8, 9 o'clock that we saw last year. Let's hop back in the comments. Overall today was great. Great job, Transportation Team. Wonderful. What else we got? I'm trying to, so I add a new little feature where I'm adding the comments to the stream. So hopefully y'all can see them. If y'all are not seeing these comments, let me know. But it's a better viewing opportunity for me so I can actually see the comments in real time. But for whatever reason, okay, bet now I can actually scroll up. I'm gonna field a few more questions or comments, y'all, and I'm gonna be up off of here. Whew. Okay, I'm not saying that particularly that sticks out to me that that we haven't already covered. Again, Colorado lines, I think, were the culprit of the biggest delays of today. I'll say this again: there are several schools that really are not equipped to have a better flow of traffic with those Colorado lines, the normal traffic of the street, and then also the buses coming in and out. So that was a foreseeable, unforeseeable issue of how bad it would be. I'm sure, very confident they understood that when you eliminate buses, more kids are going to be dropped off. I'm sure they understood that, but it's not exactly like they can just change the location of their school or change the lane, how many lanes are on that road. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like, okay, here's what we're doing. This is the plan we have in place. We hope that this plan will be sufficient for the flow of traffic. For some schools, it was more than sufficient. For other schools, not so much. And for a few schools, not at all. So that's where we are. So again, first day hiccups, first day delays, so on and so forth. These, I feel it will be better tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to be amazing or perfect or like way better tomorrow to today, because I promise you, with the stuff that's happening, especially with the Colorado line, it's going to take a little while for them to figure out some logistics to better create a better flow of traffic so that you're not waiting in the Colorado line for 30, 45 minutes an hour. I've seen some crazy wait times, and as I understand the frustration. But the all and off blast on JCPS is trash. They got to do better stuff. Miss me with that. It's not time for that yet. It's not time for that, in my opinion. In my lowly opinion. Let's get any more comments in here. A lot of parents took their schools to. That's another thing too. Absolutely right, Anita. Not Anita. Who's that? Kalia. What's up, Kalia? She said a lot of parents took their kids to school even though they got a bus. A first day thing. So absolutely, on the first day, I had several kids that weren't there. So on the first day, that absolutely happens often, that a parent will take their kid to school the first day, maybe even pick them up the first day, so on and so forth. So I'm sure that probably added to the wait as well. All right, man. I don't have too much more. I actually had some notes and I accidentally erased them. But there were some things that I saw today on the road, and I was like, I want to talk about that. Forgive me that I am not as prepared as I wanted to be, but I wanted to hop on here earlier. I wasn't about to wait till 8 o'clock. I wanted to hop on here, hop off, and be done. Let me say this: motorists, not even just the parents in the car lines, motorists, people that are just driving to and from to get where you're going. I've asked parents to be patient and have grace. Now I'm extending that request to you all as well. Maybe you don't have any kids in the school system. You're not picking up kids. You're just trying to get to work, get home, get to the store, wherever you're going. I ask that you too have a level of patience and grace. School starting back. This is nothing new. Extra traffic is nothing new. Some areas a little heavier than we're used to, again, because of the vast amount of car riders that we have now. But out to you motorists, man, please show a level of patience. Please, 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 please follow the rules of the road and the law and stop at these stop signs. I had a few run my stop signs today, and one of them was a bit of a close call because I had a kid just about to run across Rockford Lane, and this lady when something happens, you have a gut reaction to respond. And while I'm not a person that really curses or use curse words, some things almost came out of my mouth because it was low key a close call. And it wasn't even that she was negligent and not paying attention. Rockford Lane, I actually saw her coming, and I saw her look at me, look at her, look at me, and see this bus and see these reds and see this stop sign, and she just right through. And my kid was about to cross, and I was watching her, but I was looking at him, and I had to tell him to don't go yet, don't go yet. And she just went, and he started moving. I said, don't go yet. And she just went Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, some things came to mind. But yeah, you motorists, please practice patience. Please follow the rules of the road. Please follow the law and not run our stop signs. Again, like I said earlier this week, there's plenty of of warning when a bus is about to stop to pick up 200 feet before that stop. They're going to put their yellows on, their ambers. You're going to see flashing yellow, oranges lights. That is warning you that this bus is about to stop to pick up or drop off a kid. At that point in time, just go ahead and slow down, because guess what? When you try to run, try to beat it before the reds come out, you got kids that just see a bus and they're maybe across the street and they just want to cross to get over there. Okay, these kids are not they're kids, all right? They're not the most responsible. So please, when you see those ambers, when you see the bus slowing down and you see those yellows, oranges lights start flashing, just go ahead and chill out. Don't try to beat it. Chill. Most bus stops are only about 30 seconds, if that, minute at most, depending on what happens at the stop. So when you see those yellows, slow down. When you see the reds, stop your car. The rule is 20 feet, 20 to 30 feet before either the front of the bus or the back of the bus. So if you're behind the bus in this lane, that lane, whatever lane, you need to stop 20 to 30 feet behind it. If you're coming opposite direction of traffic, you need to stop 20 to 30 feet before it. It's going to take a minute max, most times, out of your route, out of your time to potentially save a child's life. Okay, chill out, please and thank you. I'm low-key off my soapbox a little bit for a minute. Again, parents, please, because I had a couple kids that did not get off my bus because they were unfamiliar with where they were. I had 2 or 3 kids saying, I don't know where I'm at. This isn't my stop, so on and so forth. And the reason why they don't know that is either they're just not paying attention, or you're not walking them to and from the bus stop to get them familiar with their area. So, again, I've said this before. This was in my tips that I sent. You still have time to do this, because I don't want to deal with this for the rest of the week or year. Make sure your kid knows how to walk to and from the bus stop. Make sure, maybe get in a car and kind of drive the route of the bus and say, hey, this is what you're going to see on the bus when you're coming up to your stop. When you see this and the bus driver calls out your stop, if you're on my bus, I'm calling out the name of your stop. I'm calling out the street. I don't know all their names yet. And the way the student list is set up, it takes too long trying to find the name, this and the other. But please take that extra time to get your child familiar with where they are supposed to be. Know your child's bus number. Make sure your child knows their bus number. I had a kid this morning hop on that was supposed to go to Cane Run. I go to Goodamoose in the morning. He hopped on the wrong bus. Asked him his name. He gave me his name. I said, what's your bus number? He said 911. I said, okay, that is in case of emergencies, but I said, do you know your mother's phone number? He goes, 911. Okay. I said, what's your last name? 911. I'm like, okay, all right. Now at the same time, also, this is a non-English speaking student. He spoke it a little bit, but all he knew was 911. So while that is a good number to know as a kid, take the time to teach your children your first and last name, your cell phone number, your address, their bus number. Those things are very, very helpful, especially the bus number, because with the bus number, we if they're in our system, we know what bus they belong to and what school they go to. So those are helpful things to keep in mind. Anything else moving forward? I'm not seeing comments. Yeah, Khalid says half of them don't know their name. There is so much unfortunate truth to that statement, that some of these kids don't know their own name. I don't know if they don't know their own name, but they don't know to respond to it when they hear it. But then when you know your name, I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to acknowledge that as a fact, that some of these kids do not recognize their own name or know to respond when their name is called. Kalia, a lot of the parents took their kids. Okay, I already saw that name. Wonderful. All right, y'all, let's go. 35 minutes back. We in the sweet spot. I'm about to wrap it up. So my overall takeaway from today was I believe that with the new routing system, today was a success. The biggest hindrances of today were the car rider lines due to heavy traffic. Some schools are just, the location of the school is just a terrible place to have that much traffic coming in. Some of the schools are not equipped to handle so many cars. You have the normal traffic of the day, you have the car riders, you have the buses coming in. So it is a collective crapshoot, if you will. But it is my genuine hope that they are able to find solutions for that sooner than later. So again, I ask that you practice patience. I think mostly right now is with the traffic for the car riding lines. Understand it's not always just the JCPS thing. Sometimes there could be a disabled vehicle, an accident, different things happen on these roads that cause delays, period. So don't automatically assume that it's something that JCPS didn't prepare for or didn't do, so on and so forth. And I think this is going to be about it. I think my last thing before I hop off today is, please don't be the complainer. I saw so many posts today about people just automatically complaining. JCPS needs to do better, and da 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 and da 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 da. Y'all, it serves no purpose. It serves no real-time solutions for the problems that we have. Again, it's your social media. Do with it as you choose. But it's just sowing seeds of discord and frustration and anger. That's all it's doing, especially for those who don't have kids. All they're doing is seeing what other people's posting and taking it as true. So you're not adding to the solution. You're just adding to the problem. So what I suggest that you do, what I encourage you to do, is to just try to practice some patience and grace. If you're having a real issue with your child, stop, call the school, call the 485 number, reach out to whom you need to reach out to find a resolution for your real problem. But if you're just hopping on here to complain, and bash, man, I encourage you to just say that to your text threads. Say that to your calls between your family and friends, man. Stop putting all that negativity out into the world, out into Louisville and JCPS, man. It's not helping. It's frustrating, and it's not serving anyone any benefit. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it there, and you do with that as you choose, as you please. If you have any questions for me as a bus driver, I'm more than willing to field them. I'm more than willing to try to answer them. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to find an answer for you. If that's above me, I'm going to say, that's above me. You might want to decide another. But I don't mind at all trying to be somewhat of a liaison between parents, guardians, citizens, and the school system, just in this position as a bus driver. Understand, I am a bus driver. I am not a coordinator. I'm not an administrator. Those are not my roles. So I'm only privy to as much information that I can access. Understand that. And I'm just giving you all what I can in my perspective. Okay. So I hope that today is a better day for each and every one of you that are involved, to each and every teacher, each and every faculty member, each and every staff member, every bus driver, to you parents, you guardians, to you students. I hope that today runs as smooth as it did. I hope tomorrow runs as smooth as it is today. And if today was rugged, I hope today is a better day for you. I'll wrap up with y'all again, probably not tomorrow. I'll probably just hop back on for my Bus Driver Chronicles on Monday with an update with how the rest of the week went. All right. I think I've said plenty. We have just about 40 minutes. So thank y'all for tuning into the Bus Driver Chronicles. As always, the wheels on the bus will continue to go round and round. I see y'all out there.